Okay, it should be streaming now. Let's see if it shows up on Facebook. Facebook is always the biggest problem.
Sure.
Yeah, they
so
keep,
many levels.
yeah, they keep changing their API, so it's like Z-Void just sent me a warning today that it wasn't really working very well last time he tried it, so probably it's not the restream to Facebook probably isn't working.
It's not streaming to Twitch either right now currently. The Twitch is dead. The Twitch is dead.
Okay, guys, you are returning to the picture. Great.
That's good.
Good news on my side.
Yeah.
Bad news is that you have to watch two ugly persons like me and PS. So.
Man, I play in 5 metal bands, so it's everyday stuff. and you are not so ugly.
I have seen worse.
I've seen worse. I've played worse, even for this week.
You've seen some serious shit.
I've played worse. Shit, yeah.
Okay,
oh,
so
good guys.
It's working on Twitch now. Yep. So I think we're good. Yeah, Facebook's still not working, but according to Z-Void, it probably won't work. So I think it's fine. Yeah, so we're good. So what we're watching right now is like a selection of the latest demos, stuff from that Polish demo party. Let me check the name again.
It seems like some nice pet ski.
Right now it's stuff from
Decadence.
From Zoo. Right? No, not from Decadence 20 years, but from Zoo demo party.
Okay.
Actually, T-101. Were you at Zoo or?
Of course I was.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you probably recognize this. And queued up, we also have some stuff from RetroComp / Loaderr from Poland, and some stuff from Trsak as well. So we have a lot of new demos. Well, not a lot, but a few. Okay, I shall now go spam the internet that we are live. Yeah, I'm gonna give up on Facebook. Doesn't seem to be working. Facebook as well. Why did it pause? T-101, if you pause, it pauses for everyone.
Yeah, I'm not actually quite sure what's going on right now.
I think you just clicked the page. I resumed it now, but I think you just, sometimes it has like magic triggers. It has happened before. Watch Together has some bugs. Like, it says that someone selected something or paused and the person did nothing. So
yeah, but the thing is, what I'm currently seeing is not the demo from Zoo Party. I'm actually seeing a totally different demo right here, right now.
Really? It should be the OOBC thing.
Yeah, I know. I know what it should be because I can see it because I have watching the Twitch thing without sound, but in this watch together thing, it's showing actually another demo. Let's see now.
Well, usually
I'll refresh. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but Twitch has like a lag, so that might also be it. Twitch has like 20-second lag or 1 minute lag.
So much lag that it's showing a completely different demo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it looks better because now I can see and hear the OOBC thing.
Okay. But like, don't follow through Twitch. Keep Twitch muted. You only need Twitch to like read the chat.
Yeah. It's just to see what's going out for me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's spam this. Okay, now we have a Spectrum demo starting.
Yes, now we are in sync. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that seems to be okay.
And the volume level is good also.
Yeah. Well, you can adjust it independently. I just increased it a little bit on my side.
It's perfectly fine for me, at least. I'm doing this with an Android tablet, so it is what it is.
I could check, but it would feedback badly to my microphone because
yeah, most probably.
Machine. But I will try to check silently. Just a second. By the way, how much time do we have until?
About 20 minutes, so we can still do some tests if you want.
I'm checking. I'm check back. Okay.
Okay.
Beer. The cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Yep.
It's only a 10 seconds lag.
It almost crashed. Sounds okay?
Yeah. Despite that little there
crash.
Yep.
Sure.
Oh, Speaky is inviting me to Vortex party. She's like on 24th of November.
Yes.
power of the Spectrum.
The awesome power. The unbelievable power.
Only Spectrum makes it possible.
Incomprehensible.
Do you mean the car? Singular car?
It's almost an Amiga.
With the emphasis on the word almost.
Okay, this one is for the Amiga, and this was released at the Polish demo party.
For some reason you sound like Mickey Mouse now. I mean, is the microphone okay? Stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. Am I okay for you,
Yeah.
T101?
Yeah, it's just Philippe.
No, not the voice. I mean the voice quality.
I can hear you guys fine.
I hear everything fine, just fine.
Okay, so it's just on my side. Okay.
Okay. But do you still hear Mickey Mouse, or is it fixed?
No, it's okay. It was just a couple of seconds and very
Okay.
rare sound quality, but now it's okay. By the way, our talking is online too. Is it normal?
What is online?
I mean, everything that we talk is online.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
I did warn you that I was gonna start streaming.
Yeah. So now I can see that you mean streaming everything. Yo.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, see now. Okay,
So whatever you do, don't pick your nose.
Yeah.
you
Or
mean
it will be.
This nose, you mean?
Yeah, that one. Don't put your finger in it.
And what about yours? T?
Mine is fine.
Can you feel it? I have a touch screen. Can you feel
Do
it?
you mean this nose? This nose is good. It's good.
Yeah. I can feel it. I have a touch screen. That's my screen.
You have a magic touch that crosses countries.
Oh yes. I mean, Finland to Hungary, that must be like at least, 2,000, 3,000 kilometers?
Approx, yes.
Yeah.
And it's just
yes, my nose is that long.
but your system lag is not so long because it's approximately 20 milliseconds or something. So if I make some food, I can zip it to you, and you can eat it in 20 milliseconds later if you can unzip it.
That's right, boys and girls.
Hello Skynet, hello Lala, welcome to the stream, and Sincat as well. Oh, Sincat was already here before.
Wait.
But welcome to the stream anyways.
Oh, I think at least one Norwegian has tuned in. I hope so.
They multiply. The
Oh, yes.
Norwegians.
Oh, yeah, it's no longer the Germans, it's the Norwegians.
They have more beer than the Germans, so...
Oh.
At least the beer is more expensive.
The Norwegians I know usually have more beer than the Germans. Okay, 10 minutes to go. I'm gonna get myself a beer and be right back.
Excellent, Excellent choice, my man.
Yeah.
Okay, drink me a beer. Or 2.
Or 10.
1 beer for 1 minute.
Challenge accepted.
I was joking. If I did the same, I would bark at the moon in 10 seconds, I guess. I'm not a heavy drinker, you know.
Well, I can drink for the both of us.
Oh, thanks, man.
I got your back. I got your back.
I appreciate them, man. I appreciate them.
Hello, I am back from outer space.
I made 10 beers later.
Yep.
Cheers, man.
Cheerios. So what are you guys drinking?
I'm drinking some generic shit from the supermarket. It's cheap and it goes down, so that's it. I actually have one good beer which I'm saving for when the transmission really starts, and that's when I'm gonna drink that.
Okay. What about you, NecroPolo?
I did some tea before the show and some very, very heavy and dense water.
Okay.
Killer stuff.
You're doing some serious drugs.
Sure. I'm doing some poison.
I'm hardcore. I can drink water.
No, I have no talent for this. Just in short, very, very probably a small amount of alcohol, and I'm killed.
It sounds so weird coming from a guy from Hungary.
Everyone can drink more than me in my country, so.
Oh, I have so many stories about demo parties, but maybe I will save them for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Too many demo parties, so little time.
So little alcohol.
Hey Jeff, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Wow. Table. Yeah, it's always better to see it live, Jeff. I hope I say your name correctly now. I was informed that it should be Jeff and not Geoff.
Bariton LCD.
T-101 is doing a live re-soundtrack for the Demoscene demo. Or intro. Actually, I should skip it, because this is like 9 minutes long. So, let's take a look at some other stuff.
Welcome, people of the internet, and welcome to see T-101 drink beer and smoke cigarettes.
And play the Bariton LCD.
Oh yes. Kids, don't try this at home.
This is for advanced professionals only.
Oh yes, yes. I like the advanced professionals.
Yeah, advanced and trained.
Yes. We are professional, ladies and germs.
You can try it anywhere but home.
Well, don't try it on the city bus either, or train.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the countries. I mean, some countries still let you smoke on the city bus.
Oh man.
Doing country like Johnny Cash or something?
I think in Morocco you can smoke in the city bus.
I mean the country. Okay.
Yeah, country.
Not
Not like country as in the countryside.
That's it.
On the countryside, there are no city buses because it's the country.
Yeah. And I didn't realize we were talking about civilized countries like Morocco and just like that. But I think that in some parts in Japan and maybe even Hong Kong, you're still allowed to smoke inside offices and public places. But
in Portugal, there was this law that you can't smoke in public spaces anymore unless they have like a draft system that pulls the air out, which doesn't really work. Mostly nightclubs, you still go to nightclubs, everybody still smokes, you still end up with your clothes smelling like smoke when you get back home. But, you know, it is the law.
And there's something with your mic again. I mean, not your voice. It's okay, but the sound quality.
I'm Mickey Mouse again.
Yes, it becomes very thin. Not your voice, but the mic sound. Could you check it?
Yeah, but I mean, for T-101 it's okay. So I think it's the Skype connection that starts screwing up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I realize, and I know what you mean when you say Mickey Mouse. It's the Skype encoding of the audio that sometimes, when it gets low bit rate, it starts sounding like a Mickey Mouse or a bad MP3.
Okay, yes,
like that.
That's it. So, I'm not a big fan of Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I actually had to reactivate my Skype account for this.
Sure. My last entry, 2016. But at least it's something.
Yeah. It's better than nothing. It's better than silence.
Yep.
We can do IRC anytime, so.
Yeah.
It's too bad that the IRC doesn't support video conference yet. But soon.
Yet.
It depends on the speed that you type. If you can type fast enough to a video player to decode it.
Yeah. Someone should work on that.
Ah, TFT has joined the chat. Hello, TFT.
Hello, TFT. Smoking pancake. Apparently,
German Kneipe.
in New Zealand, you can only smoke under the ocean. That makes sense.
That's some heavy shit. But just imagine that you start to smoke a whale.
You need to hold your breath for a very long time.
Sure, underwater, it's killer. It's New Zealand guys, they know something.
They're up to something.
Oh, hello, Evil. I can see you on the chat as well. Hello, hello. Hello.
This that we are watching now was the second place at the combined intro compo, Intersac. It's Yuki by Poo Brain. It's pretty good, darn good, if you ask me. 64k.
It is.
It's probably the last entry we'll see before we start the show officially.
We have already done it unofficially, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing remaining is well, hands off.
Yeah, pants off.
Okay.
The Danish brigade arrives. I'm wearing shorts, so I'm already... I qualify.
Nine.
Actually, I heard Discord supports video conferencing now, so maybe the next shows we can try Discord instead of Skype.
I'm gonna, Piers, are you gonna spam the revision channel in IRC as well?
I already did, but I mean, you can spam some more if you want. I spammed it like 20 minutes ago, so...
Yeah,
the more spam, the better! My mother always said, always spam more.
Yes.
When in doubt, spam. And when you get banned, that's probably when you should stop spamming.
And I typoed Alliance. Oh, sorry.
It's Alliance.
Alliance.
Alliance. So it's even more French than ever. The SIDRIP Alliance.
Aliens.
And now the SIDRIP Alliance will play some Alice Cooper with the hit song Poison.
The Marmalade.
Okay, I'm just waiting
Well,
for this intro to end, which should be like 30 more seconds or so.
Or 3 more minutes.
Whatever comes first.
It's the demo scene and everything.
We start 1 year from now. 1 year from now.
Oh.
So, welcome everyone to Mystery Demoscene Theater 9000, Season 2, Episode 13. So you have the lucky number today. And our guests today are only 2, not 3 as we usually have. We have 2 guests, but it's the quality that matters. And today we have very high quality. We have 2 sceners that are famous for their metal influences in their stuff. NecroPolo is more into doing game covers kind of stuff, but you also do Commodore 64. And you also have your band, SIDRIP Alliance, and your own solo project, also doing some metal stuff. And they are from Hungary. So, how you doing, NecroPolo?
Hi guys. Yep, I'm doing stuff and stuff too.
Okay, that's always important. Always do stuff. And then we have T-101 from Darklite and Accession and all those other groups, Primitive and 500 more groups at least. So how you doing, T-101?
I'm great, and I'm getting better beer by beer.
You're still on cough?
Oh yes, probably the best beer. Yeah. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay, so let's start with NecroPolo. And NecroPolo, I was talking with you earlier and asking you how you ended up doing stuff for the Commodore 64, and you told me it was because you heard this song from Rob Ubarb and Ben Daglish, Auf Wiedersehen Monty. So how did you end up doing stuff for the Commodore 64? Like, how did you get into the scene and into the Commodore 64 itself?
First I was a gamer, of course, like most of the kids in the 80s, and I listened to music, Commodore 64 music a lot. I recorded it to tape and played back in the car and stuff. And this actual song was sounded like a guitar. And first I wanted to play the drums, but listening to a lot of guitar, like Commodore 64 songs, then I somehow ended up playing the guitar. First, not as a guitarist, but I wanted to make music like this that we can hear now. And I discovered different trackers and music editors and things that you can make music on Commodore 64. And I used the guitar to find the notes that I could program into the C64. Then a couple of years later, I played so much on the instrument that I became a guitarist. So for me, the C64 was the first instrument. Musical instrument, then came the guitar.
How did you become a musician? Were you starting? Well, you just said that you started from the Commodore 64 first, but were you having like guitar lessons at the same time?
No, I just wanted to make Commodore 64 music, and during making some stuff, I just figured out how it sounds on the guitar, and I later became an instrumentalist. But first I was a music programmer. Just like
how old were you when you started messing with the Commodore 64 trackers?
Maybe 12 or 13. So something like that. I guess the first music I could finish was around 88 or 89. I was 13, 14 years old. I guess.
So were you like involved in swapping games around with other kids and stuff like that?
Yep, and I tried to contact guys from the demo scene, but I live in a very a remote little
village.
Yeah, and for years I sent demo discs for demo groups, and none of them arrived, because one of the postmen in my little village, he just lied discs, you know, and opened all my envelopes and just stole my stuff. And some 20 years later, yeah, it's true. And some 20 years later, his daughter just came to my place with a box, and she told me that maybe it's yours. I found it among my daddy's stuff, and it was funny because I found a lot of unreleased music tracks on this disc. So yeah, it was not easy at the time, and all the guys who claimed to be coders, claimed to be musicians, and claimed to be singers were actually not singers, because we formed, you know, little groups and made plans, but the music was always ready, but nothing else. So finally I just got bored with it, and later in the secondary school I met to a guy who were actually making games and game plans. And he was really good, but during the house fire, he lost everything.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. I told him to give him my Commodore 64 to finish the game, but he said not.
He was like tired of the whole thing.
Yeah, yep. He stopped
that's a shame.
Games, and that was the time when I completely stopped making music for just the 64. For years I used the C64 as yeah, it's my good luck from the very first years. By the time I've produced some 40 to 50 music tracks with no release, so it sucks. And
but now you have a very large back catalog of stuff that can be released at any time.
Maybe, yes. In retrospect, guys can find SID music for, I don't know, 100, probably more than 100 of releases.
Did you do music for any games, or was it just for fun?
We planned to finish a game. It was like Laser Squad from the C64, but we couldn't finish it because the house of the guy just burned down.
Oh yeah, that story. I saw this documentary recently about the game development scene of Hungary in the Commodore 64. I think it's Molman 4. They had already done a DVD about Demoscene, and now they focus on the Commodore 64, especially from Hungary, because apparently the Hungarians were very like cutting edge in terms of technology on the Commodore 64 back then. So were you like aware of that? Were you a part of that movement? Were you?
No.
Were you just completely outside? You was just a gamer at the time.
I was a completely outside guy because these things happened in the early 90s. I mean, my things. The things in the movie, and by the way, it's a very, very good movie about game development and the stuff behind the Iron Curtain, how it happened. It was about early to mid 80s. Then everyone started to make stuff for Amiga and PC and things like that, consoles. By the time I really started to work things on Commodore 64, it was dead in my country.
But in the 90s, you already had other computers, not just the Commodore 64. So why did you stick with the Commodore 64 and not, you know, Amiga and?
No, I just had the Commodore 64 up to 98, I guess, when I started to make my final thesis of English language, and I needed a machine that can make text, you know, a lot of text, the Times New Roman and Arial and all the shit. They couldn't print my ASCII final thesis, so.
So that's the only reason you changed.
No,
okay, so
the second reason, the first reason was the UFO, Enemy Unknown. The first.
Yeah, that was pretty good game. I played that. We're listening to one of your tracks now. Actually, I think it's a cover from Laxity. So
sure,
when did you start doing like covers? Did you always do them, or what's the passion behind it?
I played SID music on the guitar from the start, but I didn't record it because around the early 90s I didn't have the skill and I didn't have the equipment. No, I had the equipment, but not for professional music making. It was like you know, gluing together two tape recorders and making two tracks into 4 tracks and all kind of weird stuff that people did at the time without equipment. So it took some 10 years to build the skills to be able to make some good sounding stuff.
Yeah. How did you get involved with the demo scene later on then? I know you did a few, or your music was in some groups. Are you involved with the demo scene like at all, as in a part of a demo group? Do you just occasionally collaborate? Do you attend demo parties? What's your relationship with the demo scene nowadays?
I'm a really latecomer because I only started the raw stuff around 2008 or 9, almost 10 years ago. You know, I boxed the C64 and all the chip tunes and stuff after I started to play in touring bands. I just made demos for song skeletons, but not anything for releasing. And around 2008, I started to make a collection of songs. By the time I could normally record them, and I dug up all tapes with my demo songs on it, and I found my 64 music, and I listened to them, and man, I want to do one remix or two out of them, and I ended up doing a remix album of my old favorite tracks. That was released by Commodore 64 audio.com by Chris Abbott in 2009.
Cool.
And that was about the time when I went to my first Demoscene party. First, just to find the guys for some releases, coders and graphicians. But later on, I uploaded all my seeds to HVSC collection and released some things on Commodore 64 database, and somehow I just got scooped in.
So what was your first party? What was the name?
Arok.
Arok, okay.
2009 or 2008, I can remember, but maybe 2009.
And that's more exclusive Commodore 64 party, right? If my memory serves me right.
Yep, I'm 8-bit, so yes.
Okay. Cool. So let's hear another track from yours. This one is actually on the Commodore 64, not the guitar. So what tracker is this? Sid Wizard?
Yep, it's my SIDRIP Alliance mate Hermit on tracker. It was developed for a very long time, and I'm lucky, I'm honored to be one of the test drivers for this tracker, the early phase, and it's a cutting edge stuff. It's really good.
Did you try a lot of different Commodore 64 trackers? Which ones do you recommend? Like, if you're a new person wanting to make music on Commodore 64 nowadays, which tracker would you recommend, or which trackers would you recommend?
For all the features and stuff, Sid Wizard is a good thing to check. Maybe Go Tracker if you don't have a Commodore 64 computer or don't want to use emulators and stuff, because Go Tracker runs on the PC or maybe a Mac or anything else, so it's a multi-platform stuff. And maybe there's a very complicated but very, very good sounding editor called CDoesIt. It's coded by GRG, and maybe if you like old school stuff, DMC or GMC, it's good to check. There's a lot of stuff. You can make music on a lot of stuff, and they are just like guitars, because all of them have different workflow. Yeah, but maybe Go Tracker and Sid Wizard, a good place to start.
Another question that I wanted to ask you is, I forgot. I just got a blank on what I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, do you still use the real hardware? Do you use your Commodore 64, or do you mostly use emulators nowadays?
It depends. When I make seeds, many times I'm traveling from point A to point B, and I'm just using my little laptop and emulator. But when I'm working in the studio and want to record the sound of my C64 and run through a guitar amp or some studio gear, I'm using the original equipment. So it's a real hardware there.
Okay, we're watching to an intro that you did music for from Ancient's Pledge Inc. It's called Food Chain. Was released at X Demo Party, I think in 2010. I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah, many times ago, but many years ago. Yeah.
Did you ever been to X Demo Party, or? Not
yet, but it's always planned. it's always in my plans to check X, check assembly, check revision, but I could only reach revision so far. So, you know, things happen.
Yeah, yeah. You always need money and availability to check out foreign parties. So, which parties do you attend in Hungary itself nowadays? You mentioned Function before when we were in the pre-show. Do you go to other parties in Hungary?
Yeah, there's also an awesome multi-platform Demoscene party called Cube or QB. It's somewhere around May. And there's the 8-bit party called AROC. So
AROC is still going on. Okay.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. All the 3 parties are going on. So it's in the annual schedule that you can visit all the 3 in this country.
Okay.
So they are really good.
How many visitors does it have on average, each of those parties? Can you remember?
No, because I drink some stuff. Sorry.
You drink water, too much water, and then...
Very heavy water. So, it's a couple of hundred guys.
Okay. Let's listen to a track that you did. This was from one album of yours, I believe. Can you tell us a little bit about it? It's called Giant Leap.
By the time I started to make this album, I had so many Commodore 64 sounds. I mean, instruments and you know, different soundscapes without actual tunes in them. And first, I just made a tune that included sampled Commodore 64 sounds, and ran the signal through Studio Gear. I mean, normal compressors, EQ, and modern day DAW, and made an audio track of this. And,
what software do you use, like on PC, for mastering stuff?
I'm using Reaper.
Okay.
Reaper! Yes!
Do you use that, man?
Yeah, of course.
I use Reaper as well, so I'm I didn't know that you guys used it, so I'm surprised. It's good because it's relatively cheap compared to the other ones, but you can still do a lot of stuff with it, and all the mastering and mixing. It's
sure, man. And the main reason for me to end up using Reaper, and it's not for advertising of any type. So I'm just not a paid speaker, but I'm in the studio biz for over 15 years. I don't know, from 1999. And I've used a lot of stuff, from very, very high-end, very, very cheap, to very, very low-end and free. And all I need is stability. So yeah. I don't want the studio software to be crabbed out when I need time. I mean, need time to spare. So when I working on a project for a band, I have no time for 90 freezes, and I no have time for restarting everything because the software crapped out. So I needed a stable software, and this one proved to be the most stable I've ever used.
I haven't managed to crash Reaper yet, which is I usually manage to crash software very easily. This one I haven't been able to crash it yet, so I agree with you that it seems one of the most stable that are out there.
It's the same here, and I am sometimes loading it with very heavy projects. I mean, more than 100 tracks, a lot of VSTs, VSTIs running parallel, and last time I edited a whole album, the drums, some 18 to 20 tracks, and you know, everything is cut to the tempo. And I forgot that I didn't make a solid file of the cut tracks, and I mixed up the album, and at the end, when I archived the files, I realized that I didn't make solid files. So the software just processed the whole thing during all the time. anti-mastering. So I think it's amazing because try to do it in Pro Tools, something else.
Yeah.
It will freeze, it will crap out. So I love this stuff. It's small, fast, and very, very stable.
Yeah. You have. Well, I want to talk about two other things with you. One of them is your new album that you seem to have released like yesterday or today, something like that. And then I want to talk about your collaboration with SIDRIP Alliance. So which topic do you want to talk first?
I have some money. Let's head or tails. Yep. So head is SIDRIP. Opa. Yes, it's head. So let's talk about SIDRIP.
Okay.
SIDRIP is maybe the most friendly band I've ever played in, because you know, all the other bands are formed on a certain interest of playing on festivals, making albums, and things like that. Maybe earning money, you know. But this band is more like a very, very good group of friends, and that's the most important drive for me in it. But also, we are fans of the same type of music, and that's very important too. So this band works like if you go to a pub with your favorite friends to talk about music, and you end up playing music. So it's a
you seem to be a bit of a games cover band. Is that fair to call you that?
Yes, because most of the famous Commodore 64 tracks are game tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So we play Demoscene tracks as well, from PC, maybe not from Amiga, but we have played a lot of PC tracks too. But the majority of these classic 8-bit tunes are from games,
Mm-hmm.
by Rap Hubbard, Ben Daglish, Matt Gray, and guys like this. You know, all the great composers that everyone loves.
There are quite a few projects that focus like on doing live instruments covers of video game music. Are you like aware of that scene? Do you know other people in that scene, or you just have this band for fun and you don't really follow what other people are doing?
Sometimes when I just stumble upon such projects, I'm just watching what other people do. But my prime interest in this band is to keep this friendly band. So I'm not a good lexical guy to know all about this. It's too much time. It consumes too much time to run all the projects. So
okay.
I'm a very bad listener. Okay.
I wanted to ask you about the licensing of your track. Since you're doing covers, how does it work? I mean, you just put the track online and hope that no one bothers you that you're doing a cover, or how does it work?
When I'm doing a cover, I mean all the Commodore 64 music, it's everything is maintained by Remix 64 Qued,
Mm-hmm.
and Commodore 64 audio.com.
Okay.
So it's all about three guys: Alman, Kisabot, and
The other guy that you don't remember right now.
I remember Jan. Jan, I'm just thinking about his name because I don't know how to spell it. But Jan of Qued, okay. I'm sorry, man, if you were listening to this. I'm a stupid foreigner. I don't know your name. Sorry, man. But I love you. So,
what about if you do covers of other stuff, not for Commodore 64? Like if you do a cover of a PC game, how do you deal with those licensing issues? Or you never had that issue?
I just get a nice some message from YouTube, and I didn't get money for that. So that's it. Maybe the original author gets money for this kind of stuff, but not me. Otherwise, I am just using free releases when I use some covers. So I don't ask for that. If I guess if there's no
income
money in it,
yeah,
no income, there's nothing to ask from me. Maybe
sometimes some people still ask you to take down even if you're doing stuff for free. So it depends on the artist, but
it never happened. It never happened with me. But I know guys who were asked to remove music from their videos, or some friends made some remixes of not same music but something else, and they were asked to remove it. So yes, it happens sometimes.
I have this feeling that generally the Commodore 64 scene is a bit more tolerant to cover bands and stuff like that. Maybe it's because of this project that you just mentioned that handles all the licensing automatically. Or maybe it's because the tunes are so old that some of them are already entering public domain. I'm not sure if that's true. I don't remember the dates that it takes for something to enter public domain.
I guess it's a little bit more time. I guess some 50 or 70 years maybe, but I'm not sure.
I think it also depends on the countries. Some countries maybe, is more than others.
Yes. But there was some kind of agreement, and it Mr. Chris Abbott has a lot to do with it, because you know he's the man behind all the licensing and a fair share of the money that comes in from Commodore 64 remixes. So he's the man who made it possible without problems.
Yeah, Chuck is saying the exact same thing on the chat. He's confirming that Chris Abbott is the man.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's talk about your new album. So you released this new album. You have this one track that you uploaded today called Red Pill, Blue Hell that we are listening to right now. The album is called Hyper Game. So tell us a little bit about it.
So it was built on the very same principle like the previous album. I had a lot of Commodore 64 sounds without songs. So I just made this collection of sounds, and when an album full of different sounds came together, I just made music of it. So it's C64 in the studio, virtually, just like the album before. Oh, what do we have? Oh,
T-101 is trying to blind his camera.
I don't know if it was successful, but man, you could blind me. It was cool, by the way.
So your album is available already, like today or yesterday, and it's up on Bandcamp, on SoundCloud, Spotify, from what the icons that I see here. Is it free for download, or?
Yeah, it will be available everywhere, I guess. And maybe tomorrow will be the actual date when it will be online everywhere. Okay. It's virtually Commodore 64 with real drums or drum machines and some guitars. You know, if you listen to the previous album, it's something like that, but a little bit more versatile.
Okay. What are your plans for the future in terms of Demoscene and SIDRIP Alliance? Like, what are you planning for 2018?
A lot of plans. I have to finish some Demoscene music for next year, considering some releases. But I'm not telling facts because I can't tell facts. I have to spare time for that. But considering SIDRIP Alliance, we are planning to play club concert around March or maybe April.
Okay.
And we are planning to record a new album, by the way.
Okay, cool.
So it's a 2018 project.
Okay, very nice. Are you planning to go to revision, or you're not sure?
Sure, I'm always planning to do that, but we will see. I hope I will be there. If I will be there, we will meet. So
Yeah, I already bought my plane tickets, so I'm going to revision this year.
I'm rooting for you, NecroPolo. I'm rooting that you find a way to come to revision, so you and I can have a beer, or at least I can have a beer and you can have
Water?
whatever.
okay, man, that will be cool. Because that was cool during revision as well. So by revision, I mean a function. So, in 2015, it was a good time, great time.
Okay, guys, I think this is it for the part of NecroPolo. If you guys have any specific questions, please ask us on the chat. Evil is asking if there will be physical copies of Hypergame of your album NecroPolo. Are you planning to have some?
No, because you know it's not a very high budget album and not a very high budget income. So producing CD is very you know, expensive.
Costly. Yeah, there are some services that do like on demand, but then you have to charge like 10 euros for a CD, which becomes a little overpriced.
Yeah, it's a little bit overkill, and if I have 10 times 10 euros to spare, I just buy a new microphone or something, you know. So I'd rather spend it on the next album.
Truck is asking if he wonders if you know if Hermit is doing okay. I don't know who Hermit is, but I hope you do.
Yep. Hermit is developing some music recording chip or something like that.
Okay.
But God bless you, man. it's 4,000 hertz.
Sorry.
Oh, it's great.
Don't try this at home, kids. He's a trained professional. You might choke on your burp and die. So don't do it.
Oh, this is great.
Oh, man.
So Hermit, he left the SIDRIP Alliance because of job. He didn't have enough time for that, but sometimes we keep contact, and he's making his own sound chip, and he's coding some stuff on Commodore 64 as well. So he didn't disappear, just changed his timetable a little. So he's okay.
Okay, that's good. Truck says to tell him hi if you see him. From Truck.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I will definitely say him hi.
Okay, so let's move on to the Burping Man, also known as T-101. So T-101, tell me, how did you end up in the demo scene? Like, you were young and naive around the 90s, and how did you end up watching demos?
I was young. I needed the money. I'm not very proud of what I did, but sorry, wrong interview. Yeah, yeah, it was somewhere around 91 or 92. A personal friend of mine, which you may know, he's called Nosfe in the demo scene. Yeah,
I think I heard of him.
Yeah, I knew him from way back, and he showed us the obvious Future Crew demo, but then we started paying more attention, and we are actually watching right now the Mind Trap by Trauma, which is the demo that affected me the most. The visual style, the direction, the music, and everything, and that's where I really started to be like, yeah, I want to do this shit. And but this is Mind Trap. This is probably 97, I think.
Yes, 97.
Even before that, me and Nosfe and a couple of our other friends, we went to Assembly and participated there and started seeing stuff. And so
were you already doing music? Were you already doing music at that point? Were you like learning guitar before you got into computer stuff?
I started making music somewhere around 94, 95, when I started listening to music by Skaven, the Finnish guy. Mm-hmm. And I started doing music with trackers and just took it from there. But this was a game changer for me. This demo, the Mind Trap, this was the first demo I ever saw that had guitars, and I've been listening to heavy metal all my life. And it also so happens at 97 Assembly, we had our machine places at Assembly. The Trauma guys were sitting right next to us, so I actually got to meet Teague and Tremor and Soul and Nitro and the guys from Trauma, and they were really nice guys. We were noobs, we knew shit, we were lamers, but they were nice guys to us, and they gave us some pointers on how to do music, how to do demos, and we hang out with those guys.
Okay. So how did you end up thinking, okay, I want to be part of this? How did you form your first group, or how did you got recruited into your first group?
It was also the year 97. Me and the guys who would become Primitive, we were there, and we created the group Primitive right after Assembly. It wasn't called Primitive at first. We went through a couple of iterations of names, which don't matter, but the same guys were there. It was a Flashback was our coder, and the Prophet was our graphics guy, and I was the music guy. And in '98, we did our first demo for Assembly, which placed gloriously second to last. But
which is this masterpiece that we will watch now. So
man.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how ashamed are you of this entry?
It's clocking in at about 89. But yeah, it's done. It's there. We didn't place last, and so began the journey of Primitive, and it's there, and there's nothing I can do about it.
What was your goal for Primitive at the time? Was it just, you know, to make demos, or did you like just want to have fun, or try to explore your creative side? Did you have like a goal in mind at all?
All of the above.
Okay, that was easy.
Yeah. And back then in 97, 98, internet was pretty scarce, so we were talking through BBS things, and just wanted to start making demos just for getting our artistic side out, and letting out some steam and getting to know people, networking, whatever, and that's what we did, and what we meant to do afterwards.
So was this a time where you spent more time at Assembly instead of Boo-Assembly?
Yeah, back in '98 when this was released, I didn't even know that Boo-Assembly exists. That doesn't mean I wasn't drunk.
Which is always an achievement at Assembly, to be able to be drunk inside. They are so hard on not letting drunk people in.
I'm a good smuggler. I'm a good actor, and as always, know the right people.
It's all about contacts.
Yes.
Were you actually involved with organizing Assembly at some point?
Yeah, I've been part of the organizing crew, the Compo crew, since 2012. Yeah, I've been doing the music competitions there and helping out here and there. I've been doing scene style broadcasts there and Assembly TV stuff and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay, general stuff. It seems like most people who are active in the Finnish demo scene end up being part of Assembly organizing in one way or another.
Well, you have to be honest. I mean, being a part of the Assembly organizing crew, you get a lot of perks and a lot of privileges that are worth the effort. I mean, I know how I can smuggle booze inside Assembly. So.
That probably shouldn't have been said publicly, but well, let's hope the security guys aren't listening to this stream.
Yeah, and it's not like Pehu or Abbas. It's not like they don't know. They come to us asking for booze.
Okay, so this next demo that we're watching now is from Byte Rapers featuring Accession. It was actually made for a mobile phone, I believe.
Windows Phone.
Okay. And it's called Cosmic Soliloquy. So what can you tell us about this? Did you just were you just music supplier?
Yeah, I was a music supplier. I was hardly in IRC when this started to come along, and Micron just contacted me via Facebook and just gave me a very rough Excel sheet that on the second number 28 this happens, and then on 47 this happens, and da da da. So I made music through Excel to make it fit to this track, and this is also the origin why people call me T-Lol. It's because they were using a placeholder font for these texts where the credits. And the placeholder font they were using, T-101, looks exactly like T-Lol, and that's how that shit got started. And I doubt I will be able to shake that off.
It's a lot more funny. Your nickname is a lot funnier when it's T-Lol.
Yeah, no, I can't shake it, but I'm totally fine with it.
Meanwhile, there was this question for NecroPolo, actually. A response was asking if the track Telecommando was composed... Well, in what tracker or tool was Telecommando composed?
It was a very old tracker called GMC. It's
okay.
It's the predecessor of DMC line. I mean, Demo Music Creator. It was a game music creator from 1990, and it has very weird and heavy sounds. The way I guess the music driver was coded is pretty different from anything else. So it's heavy like shit.
Okay. T101, did you ever mess around with SID trackers, or do you only do PC sound and Amiga sound?
Yeah, I think I've done 2 SID tracks. I haven't done the C64 since the 80s, so I did them with using what was it, a Go tracker. I did one for the Decadence Data Party in 2011, and another one for some Soulskogen. I can't remember which one, probably 12 or 13. Did a couple of SIDs, but I didn't feel at home doing SIDs, but I'm not closing the door on that one. I might do another one when I feel like it, doing another one.
Why weren't you feeling at home? You couldn't pull out the guitar sound on the SIDs?
It's not only about the guitar, but it's anyone who has listened to what kind of music I do. It's very powerful, massive, large sounds, and I just don't feel at home when I can't do those things, and maybe I just need to get inspired or something.
Tried GMC. It sounds pretty different from anything. By the way, Watzak or Watsky used that too for the spooky, very very heavy stuff, and it can sound very heavy.
Okay.
Well, I need to tune in on that shit.
A pro tip right there. Okay, this next demo that we're watching now is called Grind. It's by Decadence and Accession. So this was for the Atari Falcon, actually. All right. Oh no, the Amiga 500 maybe.
No, this is Amiga AGA 060.
Amiga AGA. Okay. So was this your first collaboration with Brightlight, or have you had you been doing stuff with them before?
I think this is actually the first serious collaboration. We did a funny one for Stream Party before this one, but this was the more serious one, and it turned out fine. I really enjoyed this demo, and the sync points fit very well, and Brackett did a wonderful job on the graphics and the 3D models, and yeah.
I think this one even got a couple nominations for CNORG Awards, or was it the Meteorics already? I'm not sure, but one of those I think it got a couple nominations.
Yes, it was the Scene.org back then. This is from 2012, I think. 11 or 12. But
okay.
Yeah, this is how it started, and it started out as a joke at Boozembly, and Brightlight was like, you don't have the guts to make a metal track for a demo, and I was like, challenge accepted, and this is the end result.
And Brightlight used not to look like a metalhead before, but then he started changing his look, and I guess he always been into metal somehow. He just started showing it more, so I guess he has a lot of affinity with the metal scene. So it's a good fit.
Yeah, it is, and the direction is great, and it has some actual effects as well. So.
It's always nice when a demo has actually effects on it.
Yeah.
So, are you originally you're originally PC scener, right? And now you started doing stuff for the Amiga as well. So, what's your favorite machine?
Amiga. Well,
Amiga forever.
I'm a PC scener. I'm a new school guy, so PC is always gonna be it. But doing stuff for Amiga with Bright Light, not only this AGA shit, but also for Amiga 500 tracker stuff and that, like Pro Tracker 4-channel modules. It's been challenging, and it's been awesome.
Okay. This is the one for Atari Falcon that I was confusing with the previous one. This is the invitation for Payback, I believe.
Yes.
Because I wanted to get you talking about Payback and how you were organizer of Payback.
Yeah, that's a story on its own. Back in 2007, there was a boo assembly that was not in a booth. It was an actual party, and it was held in this one very specific venue in Helsinki. And that boo assembly didn't go down very well financially. It was actually a financial disaster. So back in 2012, me and H7 and Dr. Doom started talking about maybe we could organize a party in the same venue but make it financially viable. So it started there, and in autumn 2012 we had our plans laid out. We had calculated all the Excel sheets and everything, and just decided let's fucking do this. Let's take a chance. Let's make a new demo party in Helsinki. And it turned out to be well, I'm just gonna say it turned out to be a massive success. We did it for 3 years, and it was very well received. People loved it. People loved the venue, and it was just so exquisite. It had saunas and a swimming pool and everything, and it was just excellent.
The only problem with it is that you could only fit 150 people there.
125 actually. Yeah, that's due to the fire regulations on the venue. That it only can have 125 people plus staff. So at the last time we did Payback, we had a lot of staff.
They're not here all the time. They rotate, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So you did music for all of this, and then apparently at some point you decided you wanted to be a programmer. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I wanted to be a programmer.
For how many years have you had that dream?
I've been fiddling with computers all my life, and just that there was this point when my previous career went down, and I went back to school and started doing coding. That's when I realized that maybe I should probably code a demo at some point as well. So I started looking at this JavaScript framework for browsers called Free.js, which is probably familiar to at least some of the people here. So me and the Stone Man of Primitive, we just started looking at it and just started to do something. And we went to this hackathon thing in Espoo, Finland, called Graphathon, where you go in for 1 weekend, you sit your ass down and you just do a demo there. And we did. We sat there, we drank 10,000 beers, and we did a demo. And what we are watching right now is actually the second time we went to Graphathon. But we just sat our asses down, did a demo, and using just Free.js. and a little shader code here and there, and that's just how it goes.
So for people who are getting into programming demos now, how hard is it? Like, do you have some advice for how you get into it?
Well, for me personally, going to Graphophone was probably the best thing that happened to me demo coding wise, because the atmosphere is very relaxed. It's not a demo party. It's just it's a hackathon, and people are very helpful. They're actually teaching you to do stuff using processing, which is a Java-based framework. But you only need like 2 lines of code, and you already have a cube spinning on your screen. So it's very quick to get a little hands-on result of what you're about to do there.
Okay. So how hard was it to get into the 3D stuff and like do all the matrices and scene world to screen space and that kind of stuff?
Very fucking hard. I'm not especially gifted in the mathematical sense, so it was very complex for me to. It was actually. They have been teaching us in school that what sine and cosine and tangents are, but I never really got those because I was missing a real life example on how they apply. Mm-hmm. But doing demos, I finally realized that what they actually do and how they can be used, and it's actually doing demos. The sine, cosine, and tangents are everything.
So now you refound your love for math?
No.
But at least you're doing stuff.
But I found a little use for it, at least.
Okay. So what's your next step? Are you learning to do 3D modeling as well and just do one-man demo?
Actually, I'm thinking of taking on tap dancing.
Ah, tap dancing is also a very important skill. Especially if you go to demo parties in Norway. I hear you can win some wild combos just doing tap dancing alone.
Yeah, it's usually in a Norwegian demo party. If you happen to win something, you need to tap dance around the passed out sceners to get to the front stage.
Okay, so I'm running out of questions, so if people in the chat have any specific questions, feel free to ask. What's your plans for the future? I mean, more demos, more beer, more parties. Yes, all of the above.
Yes.
What groups are you part of? We mentioned you were Darklite, Accession, Primitive. Did we forget something? Do you want to tell us a little bit on how you got recruited into those groups? That might be an interesting story to tell.
Accession. When I came back to the demo scene in 2008, Accession was my first group back then because I knew DDT from before, outside of the demo scene. And then all of a sudden he realizes, oh shit, that guy does music, and he orders me to do a track. So I do a track, I deliver it to Busembly, and he takes me into his arms and he's like, he's the new musician of Accession. And then just shoves me toward truck and says, go talk to him.
Evil has a very important question in the chat. He's asking, why is the Amiga the best computer ever made?
It's not, and that's why it is. Because it's not without its flaws, but it's the most lovable one. It's the, how should I say it? It's the lovable idiot.
Only Amiga makes it possible.
Yes.
Let's go back to our regular... actually, let's watch some more stuff from Tersak that we didn't finish watching. This is Destination Unknown that won the compo. Jeff is asking, how hard is it to find old hardware these days?
Working hardware. It is hard.
Which one is harder to get, the Commodore 64 or the Amiga?
I think the Amiga, because 64 was much more common.
T101, do you have old hardware at all, or you just keep a PC?
I just have the PC. My oldest hardware is probably my guitar from '86.
Puncture has a question for T-101. How many hours did it take for you to get back home from Trsak after your flight got cancelled?
Too fucking long. It's just the thing is, Puncture drove me from Trsak party place back to Copenhagen. We went to his place and suffered a little hangover there. Walked his dog, which was brilliant. I love your dog, Casper, by the way. But then I go to the Copenhagen airport, and the airplane I'm supposed to take off, I'm sitting down, everyone is sitting down in the airplane, and then the captain just makes an announcement. Alrighty, we have a small issue. Let's see if we can resolve this. Hold on to your seats. Let's see what happens. 15 minutes goes by, and the captain is like, yeah, this plane is pretty much not going anywhere, and please get out in an orderly fashion. We are trying to figure out how to get you guys to Helsinki. Takes a good 2 hours, and then these announcements in the airport that people who were supposed to go to Helsinki 2 hours ago, go to gate 4 now. And so we go to gate 4, wait for an additional hour, and then we get to a plane. And when we are on that plane, the captain is like, okay, this plane will actually take us back to Helsinki, but we have too much kerosene, because this plane was supposed to go to somewhere way beyond Helsinki. So we have to fly extra fast, burn extra fuel, which means we will have extra turbulence. And because the captain explained, if we have too much kerosene when we land to Helsinki, the plane will be too heavy and we will crash. So we flew from Copenhagen to Helsinki like a bat out of hell, and nearly crashed at Helsinki. And at that point, it was like 3 in the morning or something. We were supposed to be there like 11 or whatever, and.
But you managed to get there on the same day at least, so that's something.
Yeah, well, on the same ice at least. It was just, with the 2-day hangover and everything, it was just. Oh.
So how was Trsak? For you to get a hangover, I guess it was good.
Excellent as always. I love Trsak. I've been there three years in a row now. And it's just so awesome. The Danes just throw an amazing party, and the Danes are so friendly, so polite. And a special thank you to Punctured again for organizing a minibus to get us foreigners from Copenhagen to the party place and back. That was just so awesome. Yeah.
We're watching right now one entry from Trsak itself, which is the challenge for the checkerboard for the Amiga that Blueberry launched, I believe. They were discussing the rules on a Poet thread, and well, if you want to do a checkerboard effect on the Amiga, I believe you have to do 6 layers and show stuff. Anyways, go to the Poet thread, check out the rules there. They're explained a lot better than I will ever be able to. Or just check what's written on this demo, which is important. We have a couple more demos left to play. One is Massive by Olin, which apparently Truck is correcting me, saying it's Blueberry and some guy named Brightlight. Yeah, I have heard Brightlight is also involved.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I don't know, some guy from Finland. So let's check one more demo, which is Massive by Olum. I actually haven't seen this one yet. So I'm going to see it for the first time.
There's also a question from Evil, a question to both NecroPolo and myself. So NecroPolo, how would you answer this question? When will your next trance tune be released?
Whoa. That's a good question. I would like to
might take
answer,
a while.
but I cannot. I mean, what kind of trance?
The great trance, of course. Good trance.
Good trance. Trance means neurosis for me.
Neurosis?
So, neurosis, yes. Maybe
yeah,
I release some neurosis, like sound. If you listen to it long enough, maybe you can get a trance. So, no, it's not likely.
So it will take a while.
Yes, couple of hundred of years, maybe. But actually, in the studio as a sound engineer, I'm at the moment working on some remixes of, I guess, Kraftwerk or Pet Shop Boys or something like that. So, but not trance.
No, Kraftwerk is techno, not trance. You got them mistaken again.
Yes, I can do it. I can do both on C64, so it doesn't matter.
C64 makes it possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a trance machine to metal anything.
Oh, response T101. Response is asking if you stopped for gas in the minibus.
Oh yes.
Okay, that's important.
And because this is a PG-13 show, I will just leave it at that.
Okay. I'm actually looking at the demo. It's the first time I'm seeing it, and it's pretty cute and different. So nice surprise. I believe it won the compo at the suck.
Hamburgers are making me hungry.
Yeah.
Hungry.
Hungary?
I heard it.
So you're going to function?
So, do you smoke a cigarette every time you are hungry?
If you want so.
Sure.
Okay.
It's optional.
Just like growing up.
Last year I ate a cigarette.
You ate it?
Yeah, it's not fun. Smoking it's better fun.
I agree.
Okay, so kids, this is not what you should do. Neither smoke it nor eat it. Remember, these are trained professionals. Don't try this at home. Okay, so I think
advanced professionals.
Yeah, advanced trained professionals. So I think that's it for this show. If anyone has any questions left, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you to all the regular people. Thank you, NecroPolo and T101 for joining us on this episode. It's been great. It was lots of fun. Thank you, everybody, for watching that showed up on the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube later on, thank you still for watching later on. Feel free to comment or join us live. It's always more fun live. Response is asking who won the Soda's stream tonight. I think T101 won that one.
Easily.
He's a respectable trained professional, so he always wins.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Don't try this at home. It's for trained professionals only. As always, thank you to my Patreon supporters who helped putting the show together. You have their names right down there. Garfield, Punctured, Jeff, Paul John Popkit, Jakub Pamulski, El Topo, Fulcrum, and Pixel Nerve, guys. So thank you all for your support. If you want to help support this show, you can go to patreon.com/psenough and check out the stuff there. I think it's $2 per month, and you can make me rich so I can do millions of shows forever. And yeah, that's it. So thank you guys. See you again in a couple of weeks for one more show. Oh, there's one more question from Truck for NecroPolo. He's asking you to make a Neurosis-like track for a demo, so you might be able to do that one easier.
I am making it for 64.
It's already getting done, Truck. You're out of the loop. So
yes,
yeah.
It's not ready yet, but yes, it's on the making.
Soon. What are your plans for next demo parties? I already talked with NecroPolo about it, but what about you, T101? You're going to Vortex, I guess?
Yeah, of course. It's right in my neighborhood, only 160 kilometers. After that, a winter break. I'm looking at demo bit little because I've never been to Slovakia. I would love to go there. But definitely, most certainly, my next foreign my demo party outside of Finland will be Revision, and I hope to see all of you guys there as well.
Yep.
By the way, demo bits, probably I will be there too.
Well, I
of course.
saw your gig there last year. It was great. That's when I knew about SIDRIP Alliance. I was like,
wow.
this guy's playing tracks, and then I was watching the concert, and I was loving it. So yeah, great stuff. So thank you for the concert.
You're welcome. It was a very nice party, by the way.
Yeah,
so,
it was pretty cool.
So
the location was very nice.
An awesome beer.
And I think that's it. So bye everyone. See you again in a couple of weeks for one more show. I have no clue what guests I have, so I have to send some emails, try to find a few more guests for 2 weeks time. Bye bye everyone. Take care. See you next time.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thanks for all.